TheFireFlyStudio67. My name's Gina, if you're new here. So today I've been promising you guys that we do like a craft along, and this actually is my inspiration for the project that we're going to do, which is going to be to create a tag with just things that we've got lying around. Now this is going to go under the assumption that you have been crafting and that you've got some book pages, digital images that maybe are left over from something that you've worked on, and then this is some stuff that I actually pulled out of the dumpster here at the campground. Obviously this comes in sometimes when you've ordered something through the mail, they'll use this as packaging, and I just think it's just amazing because I don't have my big shot with me. It would take up too much space in the RV, so this is going to offer me some texture, which really excites me. So let's just go ahead and get started. What I've got is a file folder. If you've got cardstock or maybe a piece of cardboard from a leftover container, that would certainly work. You're just going to need to cut this down, and I've already done this just to try to save on the time, and I've chosen to do mine at 3.5 by 6 inches. You can adapt this to any size, obviously, but that's the size I like to work in. And just to make a tag, I always just bend this over. You don't have to do this. You can, of course, cut one side first, and then if you were to do it just one side, I would recommend that you take the other one and use it as a template so that you end up with an even cut there. But that's, to me, it's just easier just to kind of slightly fold it. Because this is, by the time you've built up the layers and backed this with some coffee dyed paper, you're not going to see the little crease that it makes. And even if you do, sometimes that can add some extra interest. So the first thing I'm going to do is just back this with, I lucked up on an old dictionary, and isn't the coloring beautiful? It's actually the first time I've ever found a dictionary in all of my time of crafting that's got the yellowed look to it, so that I was very excited about that in one of my thrift shops. So I'm just going to completely cover this whole thing. I want to apologize for any glare that you've got. There's really nothing else I can do. I need to protect the table, and this is the only thing I could come up with. I need to purchase some shipping paper, and then I could just press it and use that as a background. So I do apologize, and I apologize straight away for any background noise. I have hoped that by getting up early I could avoid the neighbors' dogs, but they just seem to bark all day, which is really, really annoying. But we're just going to have to, I can't wait until it's quiet here. And you'll probably hear some of the larger RVs leaving the park. They were right on the main road, so they tend to come by our, everything that exits or enters has to come by us, so it's kind of a bummer. You can never really get away from the noise. So this is, obviously covering that to start. And again, I'm trying to just use up what I've got because I've only got a small printer, so I don't like to have to print if I don't have to because it uses a lot of ink. I'm missing my HP ink plan, and I am considering taking it out, but I'm just a little bit nervous to fully commit to that because with us moving around, I'm afraid it's going to be difficult to keep changing the address. So it's just another thing I'm going to have to give a lot of thought to before I commit. So this is papers that I've got left over from probably 1.5 years ago that I started back trying to create in here. And so I'm just going to make use of this, and I'm just going to tear it down. I'm not going to worry about anything perfect. It's just purely to get some interest to this page. But I tell you what, before I put this down, let me just add a little bit of this paper and start getting some layers built up here. I'm not going to worry about it being completely glued down, because I might pull the sewing machine out and try to do some stitching as well. And this extra, I'm actually just going to pull it over to the back, because my intention is to back this with some paper, because I don't want to leave it as the plain manila envelope. I want it to be some coffee dyed papers or something. So now I think I want something over here, and I think this flower would be really nice. So actually, I'll tell you what, I don't want a straight edge, so I'm just going to get some of this pulled off, and I'm actually just going to glue it straight onto here. Just get a bit of that corner torn away, and I'm going to trim this down. So I hope all of you are trying to keep cool, or are managing to keep cool. We have actually had some very hot weather here in northern Michigan, which I'm not happy about, because I thought I would get away from that for the summer. I don't cope well with the heat, as you probably know if you've been following me. Now, I didn't realize that was a square straight across, so I'm not liking that, so I'm going to actually come back in and just try to snip some of that. Yeah, I don't want it to be perfect looking. That's fine. Alright guys, alright, I'm going to grab a few more supplies and I'll be back. Okay guys, so here is the tag that you and I started, but I'm going to now switch over to the one I started just before I started filming, just because I've kind of already got a layout for that one. But again, it's very similar, and I'll complete this one after. It's just for the sake of time, I want to go ahead and carry on with this. So the other thing I am guilty of is not using my rubber stamps, so I want to get just a little bit of stamping on here. And I've picked up another one of these. I've got one in the UK, but it was on sale at the Hobby Lobby haul, and what I thought was, when I eventually get all of my things back, I'll probably put one of these up for a giveaway for one of my ladies, because a lot of people like this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping, and it's just the little postage mark just up in the corner, just to add a little bit more interest, because I am terrible about if my items aren't in front of me, then I tend to forget about them. So I've got to start using my stamps, because I absolutely love stamping. Okay, so let me just, I've done a little bit of inking up here with some of the vintage photo on the edges, and I might come back, but just to get rid of those white edges, I've done that. And then I've chosen an image here that I think would be really fun to use. So I want to ink the edge of that. In the past, I've tended to just wing it and create on camera, but I find with everything so small, it's just too stressful to try to do that with you guys now. So I think what I'll have to do is what I'm doing now, and just kind of already have something in mind. And I hope that you'll like that. Let me know if you'd rather I just go back to the way I used to, which is just, here's some things, we're going to make something, but obviously it's got to work for me in such a small space as well. So all I've done is I've chosen an image, kind of, and of course I think I need more of this, which I want to ink up, because this was really what inspired me when I saw this in the dumpster. Oh gosh, I'm sorry guys, but that's just the truth. I saw it and I was like, oh, I've got to have that. I can use that. So I don't want to cover all of the dictionary page, because I think that adds a lot. But I'm thinking I like the idea of that. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more up here that's maybe kind of loose. And then this is a piece of muslin that I had stamped, and I just found it in my drawer. And I actually like the idea of adding this as well. I'm just going to ink it up a little bit more. And then this lace, I just thought it might be kind of fun to just make something down in this corner. Yeah, that's kind of my thinking. I pulled this metallic thread out. I've pulled out some linen thread, and I just thought I'll just keep building on it. And then here, this is something I found, some of my trash, and I actually thought maybe for just the metal or a button. We'll just wait and see. Then I've pulled a little number, and then this is one of the butterflies from that background paper, and I just fussy cut it. This is not on cardstock, this is just paper. So that's kind of what I've pulled out, and now it's just trying to figure out how to incorporate all this, because I feel like if I'm going to use the lace, I need to have a little bit to balance it up here. So let's start with some Fabri-Tac, because I think I'm going to need that to hold all this together. I'm going to get a little bit more of this lace here. There we go. Alright, so let's just make a start. I think the first thing I want to do is actually get that lace down on the bottom of this upper corner. So let me just start with a little dollop of this. I'm going to need to order some more of this. It's getting down quite low. I'll probably start coughing, guys. That stuff really irritates my respiratory system, and I've got to have the windows closed, unfortunately, because of this neighbor's dogs. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The things, you know, you can't say anything because they work here, but it's not really right that they let the dogs just bark like that. Alright, I think I want to just go ahead and start adding a little bit of this metallic. And I'm not going to be too bothered about it. I'm just going to go with it. But I think that little bit of shimmer is going to be quite pretty. So let me just get a dollop here. I think I'm going to put some of the linen thread as well. Okay, I like that. Down here, I'm going to go ahead, let me just kind of gauge. If I put that about there, I'm going to put this along here somewhere. Okay. And I don't know. Let's just have another look at this. Yeah, I like it. I think that's looking nice. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and get this little bit of fabric. I tell you what, before I put that down, let's do the same thing with this. Let's get some of the metallic thread. And a bit more of the linen. Just put that on that little dollop of glue there. And now I'll put a little bit more just to hold this fabric in place. It's been so long since I've worked with the fabric and paper together. I've been doing some of the fabric projects and then paper projects separately, but it's just getting used to the different glues again. Alright, so there we go. And it's got some bulk to it, as you can see. I'll bring it up a bit closer. But as long as it's all adhered, I'm fine with that. Now this, I want to actually do a little stitch, because I want that gathered up. I'm just going to use some of the linen thread. Actually, I need a larger needle. I've seen people show how to do the knot so many times where you just twist it, and I've tried it and I can't get it to work, so I just do it the way I've always done it. I was never... I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to bring you down here a little bit closer. It feels like everything is conspiring against me today on this video. That was the air conditioner. I thought I had shut it off, and Paul is lying down. So it's just, I don't know. I just seem to be struggling to get everything to work out. So I do apologize for the noise. Okay, so I just wanted that gathered up slightly. And so now I just got to make a decision. Do I want that bit of metal, or do I want to go with the button? I already think the metal, even without putting, yeah, the metal for sure. I just found that somewhere. I don't know. I think I was doing one of the campground checks when people, when people check out, we have to clean the site, make sure it's ready, and that was just lying there, and I was like, oh wow, what a treasure, because it's flattened. It was an old button, but it's just perfect. So yeah, a nice little piece. And then I'm just thinking that butterfly there, and I think the number there. Yeah, I like that. Alright, so let me just get this little bit of lace glued. And then I need to find some sari. So this is going to take a while for that to dry, I suspect. So I'll leave. See if I can clamp this. Okay, I was just going to see if that would reach, but it's not going to. Let me just see if I put that. That'll work. That'll hold it down. Alright, that works. Just going to go with it. We're not going to stress out. Probably don't need this glue, so yes, guys, since I hit the road, my glue issues have not gone away. I've managed to bring that with me. I was putting a pin in here. Well, then, you know the little tip here? I've taken that out, I've cleaned it, I've done everything I know to do, and I just cannot get the glue to flow. I've cleaned this, so I've ended up just having to use a paper clip, but the problem is you can't get that really fine bit of, but there's just nothing I can do about it. Okay, and I think I want just a little bit more of this gold thread. Why not? And it'll go right under the little butterfly. Alright, so I'm going to leave that, let that dry. Let me just go ahead and punch a hole where we want our sari silk to be. Okay, so Yeah, so that shows you how long it's been. I should have cut that longer. It's been so long, guys, since I've done anything. Because I would like to have this tied. You know what? No, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just trim it off. And then these pieces I keep for snippet rolls. Alright, so let's see if this is adhered. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty secure. So what I want to do now is go back with either some of the craft shipping paper or coffee dyed paper, and I will back this. I wouldn't stitch it now at this point because it's gonna stitch all of this thread down, and I don't want that because I like the dimensions. So just let you see up close. But I love this paper. I think that's really added a lot of texture, and that's why I wanted to do this, guys, is I wanted you to see that even if you don't have a big shot to emboss with, there's other ways that you can get the added texture. So I'm very pleased with that. If I had my tiny tag die and a big shot, I would probably come back and attach a little tag here, maybe that says friend or something. I just think that's come out really pretty. I'm really pleased with that, given the fact that it's really just scraps that I had lying around. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think about the project. If there's any particular project that you would like to see me do. I'm open to some ideas, just bearing in mind I might not be able to do what you suggest because it'll depend on how complex. Like, for example, giving a journal tutorial I think is going to be very challenging in the environment I'm in, but I'm happy to do little small projects if you can think of anything, like if there's a little folio or something. And I am starting to try to gather up some ideas for future videos as well. But thank you all for stopping by today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has inspired you to look around at some common things that you've got lying around that you can just use up. And what a great little tag this would be to receive in the mail, some happy mail. So thank you guys again for joining me today. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.